Welcome back. This morning, we're getting the first look at the face of bravery, the face of the wife of the Hawaii doctor who's accused of trying to murder her, allegedly by trying to push her off of a popular hiking trail. Arielle Konig faced her husband, Dr. Gerhardt Konig, for the first time since he allegedly tried to murder her. Arielle appeared in court on Friday to request an extension of a temporary restraining order. Dr. Gerhardt Konig appeared via Zoom. Now, if you take a look, there's Arielle right there. She's wearing a headscarf to the hearing. We know that her head was injured, allegedly by being beaten by a rock, and you can see that cut right above her right eyebrow. The judge granted her request to extend that restraining order.
Ma'am, do you recall on your petition on page 8, there was a line for you to sign your name. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And where you signed, you were indicating the information you provided was true and correct to the best of your knowledge. Is that still the case this morning?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Mr. Konig, I'm going to ask if you had an opportunity to review the petition.
Yes.
At this time, sir, I must ask if you are willing to agree to a no contact order. If you agree, we will not hold a hearing this morning. The court will simply read into the record any orders that will be put in place.
I will be asking for continuance in this matter.
The current temporary order filed on March 27th will remain in full effect with all terms remaining in full force and effect. Any questions from the petitioner? Okay. Any questions, Mr. Konig?
No, ma'am.
So the next hearing for that restraining order is going to be on May 23rd. Dr. Gerhardt Konig, currently in jail without any bond. He's facing charges of attempted murder. And as part of that order, if he should be given a bond, he can't go anywhere near his wife or their 2 small children. Let's talk about this case. I want to bring back in Jennifer Coffin-Daffer, Mario Gallucci, and Tommy Pope. Jen, let me begin with you, please. Your thoughts on the bravery that this woman showed, not just on the cliff that day, but also going into the courtroom late last week.
You know, Julie, I don't know how many people know these particular details. I mean, to me, this was so premeditated. Asking her to take a selfie at the edge of the cliff, her denying it, then him striking her not once, not twice, 10 times, Julie, with a rock, forcing her face into the ground, trying to inject her with a needle, and she fought valiantly. He then ran away, fled, a manhunt pursued. Julie, this was absolutely horrible. And the fact she survived this is really astounding.
It really is. I can't commend her enough. I mean, to have not given up through all of those attempts, as Jen, you laid it out, the pushing, the beating, the attempt to inject her with God knows what. We still don't know what the substance was that he brought with him in those syringes, according to police. What a valiant effort she put forth, and thank goodness she did. Those boys still have their mama at home. Mario, let me go to you next, please. Your thoughts as you look at this woman, and you know the legal road that's ahead is a rough one.
Well, I mean, she's already demonstrated that she's a warrior. I mean, she survived a brutal beating. I mean, this man literally beat her with a rock, tried to inject her, throw her off a cliff, and she fought back, and she's strong. We just saw her in court. She sat right there. She was stoic. She answered the questions. And it's a long way. I mean, a trial is probably at least a year away. And she's good. She's a warrior. This is a woman that is going to battle for herself and for those 2 small children. It's just quite upsetting that this guy would go to such lengths to take care of his wife instead of just going to a court and asking for a divorce. It just doesn't make any sense to me why you would want to kill your wife, the mother of your children, instead of just easily going to court and asking for a divorce.
Mario,
Much simpler
great question.
method.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there. Please, Mario, what was that last part you said?
No, it would have been a much simpler process.
Yes.
Much easier.
You're so right. How could someone who's so smart allegedly be so stupid to think he could get away with something if he did what police and the witnesses say that he did? Tommy, let's talk about that. You know, being a prosecutor for so many years, and you were a SLED agent as well, I'm sure nothing surprises you how sometimes defendants don't look like the monsters we see in the movies, do they?
I know, Julia, they don't, and I think I was thinking while we were talking, kind of dovetailing on what Mario was saying is, you know, he's smart enough. It's normally selfishness. You don't want to go to the divorce because you don't want to give up half of whatever you have or whatever. But, you know, I think it'll be interesting at trial time to see what precipitated this. So if our relationship has deteriorated to the point that you're carrying the needle, you're planning on pushing me off a cliff, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what occurred prior to this that led up to this. You know, I don't know if there were prior restraining orders. I can't imagine you go from restraining orders to going out in the middle of the wilderness, you know, with somebody that could potentially take your life. But no, you know, oftentimes leading back to what you asked, how many times do you see the neighbors go, he was a nice neighbor over the fence. I didn't know he had a, you know, secret room in his basement or whatever. So, well, you know, we truly don't know people till we, you know, see their actions come out in a situation like this.
Isn't that the truth, Tommy? You're right. Jen Coffenduffer, back to you, please. How about those two witnesses? What a godsend those ladies were, right, on the trail. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, back to the doctor, he didn't do enough recon of this trail that is very well traveled, and thank goodness they were there. It was so fortuitous, but it was also likely predictable because people hike this trail. So he did a bad job in his recon. But secondarily, you know, without them, would she have survived? I mean, it's just a godsend they were there.
It really is, Jen. When you think about that, had they not yelled out, and for anybody unfamiliar, you know, they said things like, we see you, we see what you're doing, we're calling 911. Essentially, they told police, they called that guy out. They didn't know who he was or what was going on, but they saw the attack and intervened to stop it. Mario, you called Arielle Konig a warrior. Love that. She really is. What a fight already. How about the fight ahead, especially because we're likely going to need her testimony in the courtroom? Your thoughts on that, please.
So, you know, she's a mother and she's a wife, and her husband just tried to eliminate her from being a wife and a mother. So that is an immense amount of pressure on her now to continue to be a good mother and to focus on what she needs to do to go forward. And to go forward, she needs to make sure that she has her day in court, not only for herself, but for her children. I mean, if this man was willing to wander her into the woods with a needle to try to kill her, what is he capable of doing? And it's like Tommy said, you don't know the neighbor next door. You know, for all intents and purposes, this guy was a brilliant doctor doing his job. He had a lovely family, and lo and behold, he's wandering off into the woods trying to eliminate his wife. So she needs to stay strong for herself and for her children.
So true. Mario, thank you. Tommy Pope, last word on this, please. What would be your best advice if Arielle Konig came to you as a victim on one of your cases in the prosecutor's office? What would you say to her at this point in time?
I was actually, Julie, reading her face then and thinking about it, you know, because for us, you know, we talk about this all the time. Unless you're a victim, unless you're involved in the trial, it's all kind of superficial, and it's all kind of interesting, and it's all kind of theater. Watching her face, you know, she's got to wonder through the course of her marriage, how did it get to this? But I think that courage and, quite frankly, anger, you know, that luckily she'd been saved by the people that were there and her resisting. I think she'll be around. I think she's got a, find friends to confide in, or, counselor or whatever, to kind of let go of some of it. But I think that's the face of resolve. And I think she'll be there, and I think she'll see this thing through. Again, for your viewers, I think it'll be interesting to hear the backstory of what led to that day, what changed in the relationship. But I anticipate her testifying strongly and being solid, and them having a hard time of tripping her up.
I think your prediction's exactly right. Tommy, thank you for that. Boy, thank you all for such a great discussion. Tommy, we're going to see you at 9 a.m. Jen and Mario, thank you both for your insight and your expertise this morning. We'll see you both on another day here very soon.